Welcome everybody. Happy New Year to you, because we're still in January 2006 and you are at my show Dare to Dream on newsstreamingnetwork.com and WGSN-DB Go Solo Network Radio. Welcome to Dare to Dream. My name is Reverend Graham Williamson. I am a third generation international evidential intuitive medium. And today's show is about moving on. As always, Spirit guide me in all my shows. I never write down a plan of what I'm going to talk about. But because I took a couple of weeks off from doing the shows because my emotional state was a little bit erratic. And I found out everybody lives spirit having a human experience. But occasionally the human experience is more important. It's a material aspect. And moving on can imply many different aspects of people who have passed, how we cope with bereavement, how we cope with breakups and all the rest of it. And I was totally shocked when Spirit said, do moving on. I said, why? Well, you've just gone through all this emotional and psychological stuff, Graham. I nearly had a breakdown. That's the bottom line. I'm not a medically trained person, but I went through a lot of stress. I didn't know whether I was losing my mind. I honestly didn't. And then just as suddenly, it cleared up. It defies logic for me. But I found out also my ability of working with spirit is still available to me. And so I'm a recovered alcoholic as well. I've been shot up, held up at gunpoint, been in 3 major car accidents, held a bomb that should have gone off, and my best friend took a warship. And I never came back from the Falklands. All these things are in my memory. All these experiences. What do we do with them? Do we hide them and just play in the back of your mind for years upon years upon years, and suddenly you stress out? Well, I didn't knowingly suppress anything from what I've experienced, because the whole point of my life is I am a spirit having a human experience to the best of my ability. I would not have chosen all those things that I've been through. I would not have chosen to be an alcoholic. 24 beers plus shorts every day that saved my life was being a runner, a long distance runner and swimmer. I finally figured it out. I was moving on past all those experiences. I've lived for a reason. And the only way I can do anything is to literally move on. Life's about experiences. We all have choices in our lives. Some that we don't want to think about, some we never even thought about, and then things that are in your face. But it's what we do in response to those that become known to our conscious thoughts. On the New Streaming Network, there's many brilliant shows about handling divorce and alcohol and abuse and all the other things, legal stuff as well. All these things, these people have experienced. But instead of sitting back, they've moved on. They've not ignored it. They've learned you can't change the past. The only thing you can change is how you deal with it now. When I look back at all these years I've been doing Dare to Dream, I never realized how much of an experience these shows I've done have meant to me. But I don't hold them as I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. No. They're there if I need them. I can move back to look at them. I can use them to help me in whatever situation I'm in now, because I'm sure I've touched bases with it in my past, with whatever it is in my show, to do with spirit. We were just having a laugh before we came on, Cece and I, and the experiences that we've both been going through, it's all about living life to the best of our abilities. It's okay to say, well, you're a spiritual person, you're a medium, you can do this, this, this. It's not about that. Every single minute of our lives is about experience. When it's good, we want to keep on riding the wave. When it's bad, we say, let's get out and dry off and disappear from all that that's holding us back. But is it really holding us back? As I said at the beginning, I went through something through the Christmas period, nearly 8 weeks of it. I went for brain scan and everything, nothing different, everything's okay. So I thought, why? But why not? How can I show you that we all are going through things that seem to be holding us, stopping us from doing what we want to do? I want to do this, I want to do that. No, it's not about that. We are here to learn from our choices. We are here to learn about what options we can learn from what we've experienced. I went in for an X-ray on my shoulder, so I've got a frozen shoulder. And in the MRI, after I had an X-ray, I had an MRI, they noticed something in my lung. Oh, what is it? So come back in 3 months and have a look at it. This is August, September time. So come back and have a look at it. Nothing changed. It's still there, nothing big. Oh, but we didn't know about it. But if I'd have got the frozen shoulder, I wouldn't have had an X-ray to find out I had a lump. And of course, everybody's, well, it could be cancer, it could be this, it could be a tumour, it could be whatever it's not. It's almost like a cyst, benign. And the word benign means it's not going to kill you. Not straight away, anyway. Our bodies are fantastic machines. They work by electric. The water and all the things inside. As I say, I'm not medically trained, but we're a bag of water, really. And we've got all these minerals, chemicals inside our body. We've got acids. We've got all these muscles. We've got the brain, two brains even. One in our heart and one in our head. All these things are working simultaneously. And it takes time to understand who you are personally. Now, all the things I've explained in my shows now is about my past experiences. I could be miserable, saying, oh, well, I failed this and I failed that, and oh, I've got the lump, and it could be this, could be that. I could go into it for the rest of my life. But what good's that? I'm not saying for those people who have lost somebody, that is something totally different. And I respect mourning for somebody that you've lost. But my escape from that is, as a medium and being an evidential medium, is I've found out my mother, my father, my paternal father, my friend Steve, all the people I've known who have passed away, my grandmother, my granddad, my uncles, all those people are still here in my heart. I can still talk with them because they are not just memories. They are still living beings on another plane. I've moved on from the fact that physically they're dead. I miss being able to talk to them and give them a hug in that physical sense. But I still talk to them out loud because they're in my heart and they're around me. The energy is shared. Their energy is on a different level. different plane of existence. And that gives me, what's the best word? That gives me peace to know that my loved ones, all those people I've met and loved, are still with me. But I've moved on from the physical. I still miss them, but I don't dwell on it. But I talk to them. I don't think to them. Because to me, that's being very rude to the people that you love, just thinking of them. Because we're still connected. That energy, it never stops. It changes, but it never stops. The energy of life. That's why we've got this plane of existence, and we've got the other planes of existence. I was giving a reading to somebody the other day, and did you know deja vu, in my opinion, is a moment in time that you foresaw before you were born? Spirit looking down saying, I want to come down and experience what this body is going to go through. I don't know how it works technically, but I do know that you choose to come into this world at the time you do. You may not have no conscious memory of it, of choosing, but that's another part of self-enlightenment as to why the purpose of you being here. But deja vu is also about, I want to see that, and when you experience it in this life, on this material plane of existence, it's a reward to show you are doing what you've always wanted to do from spirit before you came here. And you're moving on the right path. You're moving on into the places that you know from your heart is going to be beneficial to you. In a good way, not selfish. Because ego is one of the biggest problems we all have. I was a very shy, introverted person as a child. I mean, I didn't want to leave the house. I would read my magazines, comics, books. I'm an avid book reader, or was. And all these things were fine to me, but the weather interfered. Now, I was living in England at the time when I was a young lad. And when the weather changed, I could feel something change in the energy around me, and it would get me out of whatever I was doing. Oh, I want to go out. Now it started raining, Grim, you can't go out. Oh. And now I found out over the last 5-6 years that the sun has been sending out magnetic energy waves, for want of a better phrase. And those waves are at various degrees from 1 to 5, maybe 6. What is it? Geomagnetic pulses. I don't know what the correct term is, you'll have to look it up. But these energy waves from the sun are affecting our very bodies, inside and out, even possibly changing our DNA. These energy waves go through everything. It's similar to gamma. I remember reading about gamma pass through the earth, no impediment whatsoever. If it goes through us, no problem. It's not like we're all going to turn into the Hulk, unless it's an extremely high dosage. But you see, those comics, those books that I read as a child, gave me the foundation of understanding what being a medium is. But I didn't fully understand. It's only by the experiences, moving on from those, each lesson I was given, I moved on. I'm growing, I'm learning. Some of my friends call me a big kid. My wife calls me the comedic medium because I'm always making people laugh. The reason why I make people laugh is because I remember, as I said, being a shy introvert, sitting there, miserable, scared of everybody. Then I found out why I was scared of everybody. Why I was scared of the dark. In fact, I wrote a lecture I'm going to do for an event I'm going to. And this lecture is about why was I scared of the dark? Most children are scared of the dark. but we don't understand fully why. Well, because of all the things I've been doing all my life, it finally clicked on me when I was writing on a lecture a couple of weeks ago. It's because I was seeing spirit, feeling spirit, hearing, everything. All my six senses were heightened as a medium. And in the dark, I was picking up that energy. It was around me. And as a child, I didn't understand it. Too many people talking, I want to go to sleep, leave me alone. And I was scared of the dark. When the light was on, I could go to sleep. Now, in part because I finally figured that part out, I've also suffered from sleep apnea. Now, it's a debilitating problem of breathing, but mine stemmed from being scared stiff of drowning on a warship. I learned that when ships sink, the first 2 to 3 minutes, you've got all the bubbles coming out. After that, the bubbles dissipate. But if you enter a bubble in the water, it can cause pressure on your lungs, cause you to lose oxygen. And I thought, I don't want to drown. So I learned to hold my breath. For 5 minutes, 13 seconds is my record. I thought that was pretty good until I heard a famous actress can do for 5.5 minutes. I thought, no, so 7.5 minutes. Wow. But my breathing rate, one of my in and out is no, well, how can I word this correctly? For one set of in and out for me, the average person was doing 3 in and outs. I had a 20-second gap between the intake, the pause for 20 seconds, and the out, the exhale. 20 seconds in, 20 seconds out. And that caused a problem. It became automatic, which causes sleep apnea because I was having too deep a sleep because of my breath was too shallow. I was still taking oxygen and all the rest of it, but the gap was too long. So I said to the doctor 8 years ago, 9 years now, I'm going to reverse it. Oh, once you've got that, you can't. Well, I've proved them wrong. I moved on from it. I broke the rules. I said, I don't want to die from sleep apnea. I don't want to lose my marbles, which is probably part of the problem that I had the mental issue because my breathing was erratic. But once I calmed down, it's working fine. I still have sleep apnea, but nowhere near severe migraines and all the rest of that and go. You see, I found out every action apart from the heart, lungs, and all the things internal, if you can breathe automatic, as we mostly do, you can change that rhythm. I changed it to hold my breath. I'm changing it back to what it should be with a 2-3 second gap at the most. And I want to make it fluid. Headaches from lack of oxygen hurt like heck. That's the only way I can describe it. Sleep apnea is no fun. But it taught me my body has its limitation. My spirit hasn't. It's still the 21 and a bit year old attitude. But I've got a lot more wisdom behind it. I love making people laugh, as I said. I do my shows to show that we all have these abilities if you want to listen to yourself, your inner self. You came into this earth or onto this earth to learn the material aspect. You moved on from spirit into the physical world. You're going to move on again back to the spirit world. So you've got to live the best life you've got whilst you're here. And spirit are definitely bugging me to try to get my attention. They're talking to me. That's why I'm scratching my head. And I'm listening. listening. But you see, we have a reason for being here. To do the best you can with other people as well as yourself. Don't put yourself last when it's your emotion. You know, you can go and help rescue people, you can support them and say, I'm here for you. But don't do it when it's going to cause you serious issues. I've told a story about my friend, the quadriplegic. I broke all the rules good after him. All the shopping he did and everything. 3 months later he died. But the point is, I chose to treat him as a human being that was capable. His wife said, how did you know? How did you do that? I said, because I grew up on a hospital, well, in going to visit my mum and dad working in Aston Mental Hospital. That's what it used to be called. Now it's for the physically and mentally impaired and disabled people. I grew up watching people like that. And they taught me dance and all the rest of it. I've mentioned this on the shows previous. But the point is, all those things, all this sadness that I felt around me from these people didn't exist. There was, well, I should say, 85 to 90% of sadness was caused by medication, bad nursing, not understanding the patient. Now that was 60 odd years ago, and it's changed, black and white. It's totally different now, because people have abilities, whether they're impaired or physically disabled. We've got autistic, ADHD, bipolar, and all the rest of it. All these people, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that they're focused differently. They can't move on. They live in that world. And we're supposed to be the normals, so we should be able to help them. But we're impeded by lack of knowledge, the lack of understanding, lack of letting go of the past and helping others now. I've moved on by seeing what I learnt as a child, as an adult now, and say, I've moved on from that. There is nobody here that I know with a disability that I can't at least meet part the way. I can't do sign. The only sign language I know is very, very minimal. And I'd insult the person by trying to do ASL. But now there's all this magnetic frequency, electronic and magnetic frequency therapy to help frozen shoulder. Put this thing on and it vibrates, it oscillates, or whatever it does magnetically or electrically to help the nerve endings in my shoulder. But I had a physiotherapist that helped my shoulder who knew how to touch the muscles old school, and she was brilliant. She could make my arm numb in seconds. Work on it, then stop it being numb. I even said to her, because I always joke around with her, I said, how can you do that? You can make my arm numb for while you're doing what you're doing to help get my shoulder to move, and then have it back fully functional for me to drive safely. So I've been doing this a while. It's automatic. But she'd learned, my therapist, from knowing people with disabilities. She said, I felt trapped not being able to help people. So she went to physiotherapy and learned how to be a physio person. I was depressed. Now she's also wanted to become a medium. She knows about elevating her energy. She knows about helping herself and other people. I've made a bit of a joke with the people in this local therapy place I went to. I said, even when I finish, I'll pop in and see how you're doing and thank you for what you've done for me. And my friend said, you've got to move on, Graham. I said, oh, yes. I said, but I'm moving on with a shoulder that's working because of you and what you taught me to do, how you helped me evolve. Now, that's that part. Let's just check the time a minute. The other part I want to talk about moving on is about losing a loved one. We are all going to lose somebody that we love. We are all going to move on ourselves. That is why my show, Dare to Dream, is about living it. Living in this world, which is like a dream. Because we've only got a short time on this earth. Seconds compared to eternity or whatever it is in the next realm of existence. My spirit will not die when my body stops working. That's been proved. Evidential mediumship has proved it many times. Scientific research and all this has been fantastic. But the grief that we feel when we've lost somebody that we love, you never really move on from it. Not the way that you were before they passed. I spoke to my mother 2 hours solid the night before she was having a major hip operation that she didn't recover from, yet she knew she would not recover from. She said, but if I don't have the operation, Graham, I'm going to be on painkillers and still be in pain because they can't give me enough painkillers to stop the pain, which is why she needed the operation. And she was so matter of fact. She was a nurse, damn good one. And she was a medium, a rescue medium. And we spoke for 2 solid hours. Finally, she passed on. But she woke my wife up at 2:30 in the morning. She didn't actually stop breathing until the afternoon, UK time. I believe it was like 3:30, 4:30 in the afternoon. So it'll be 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock over here in Florida when she actually was declared dead. But she left her body, pretty much, and came over here and woke my wife up, left a scent, and then went away again. I have a lot of siblings, aunts, uncles, and nephews, nieces, and all this. And we all miss my mum and my dad, and my paternal father. But I've found I've got 3 other half-sisters, 2 half-sisters and a half-brother. I've got 3 sisters and a brother over in England. And honestly, when I look at each of these family members, I see my mum, I see my dad, I see my aunt, I see my in them. Because we all have a piece of our family. That's what we call family, for goodness sake. The generations down the line saying, great-grandma, granddad had their children, all the way down to where we are now. Time moves on. Emotions move on. When you lose somebody, think about this. If my mum hadn't had the operation, she would have lived in pain. If my brother-in-law hadn't died in a terrible crash, he was dying of a terrible cancer. All these relatives that have died and friends that have died because it was their time. Not ours at the living. We're still, I want my mum back, I want my brother back, I want my aunt, uncle, I want them all back. But think about it. You've only got a short time on this earth. And we're going to go. But it's what you do with learning from it and moving on from it in a good way. You're still going to feel the grief. You're still going to have the tears and the sad memories. But I know, even when I got a smack for doing wrong things to my parents as a child, I can look back and say, I was right to be given that smack. I learned from that reprimand. I learned from the good things that you shared with me, how to cook, how to sew with my nan and granddad. how to go out ferreting with a friend we called Uncle Gilly. All these things in the past and moving on to today have helped shape me to what I am now. I'm not, I still cry. I still feel the ache. My mother's been gone for 23 years. My father's been gone about 9 or 10 now. I'm not good on dates. I'm not good on names. But I remember the faces. I remember the character. I remember what they feel like. That memory will always be in my heart. And sometimes my conscious ability to think. But I've moved on because they had me, my parents had me and my siblings, so we continue their lineage. We are here because of our parents, because of those people behind us. If we stay still and not move on, humankind would cease. Think about it. Because I don't want to continue anymore. I don't want to have children because they're going to die. I don't want to do this because they're going to die. And you just stay there and everything stops. I know that's oversimplification, but it's to get the point across that you have to move on. I saw a program, which I've referred to, about an English cook coming over to America, about the diet of the American people. And he got ridiculed and everything. But because he was thinking of the health of the American people and proved that the diets we were on were killing us and making us 3 times the size that we should be. Eating healthy food is the best thing for you. I know it costs more to do healthy food, but think about this. I'd rather pay $10 for a really good steak before cooking than spend $3 on a make-believe steak. Look, God knows what's in it. So much food's coming through that's artificial, been manufactured. I was upset to find out some of the tomato ketchups I was having wasn't tomato ketchup at all. It was natural flavours and artificial bits and pieces. But I was a cook in the Navy and that really bugged me. But I moved on from it, so don't want it. I'll make my own. I'll grow my own tomatoes. I know how to do it. Fresh vinegar, yeah, no problem. Salt, pepper, no problem. Tomato, yeah, no problem. Look up the recipes. I used to love the books, Caesarani and Kinton. I studied them when I was learning to be a cook in the Royal Navy back in 71 to 86. And part of it was read a recipe, okay, ingredients, and they didn't have artificial flavouring or natural flavouring. But times move on. So you've got a choice to make in your life now or soon. Are you going to sit in the past and dwell on what if, woulda, coulda, shoulda? Or are you, like my show title, Dare to Dream? And then you can fill the last part of the sentence yourself. Dare to dream to have a happier life. Dare to dream to move on. Dare to dream to be yourself. Dare to dream to help others better and help yourself. My show has been on bi-weekly for about 4 years now. Every other Wednesday. I've only missed about, in 4 years, I'd say 10 live shows. I'm just guessing. But I've done a live show for 4 years, mostly. Because I've moved on from the past to be here, to talk to you on my show. Now, I know I've been talking various aspects of moving on, but I want you to know that thank you, Cece. My next show is on February the 11th, 3 days before Valentine's Day. I'm a big romantic, as well as being a big kid and a comedian. And I hope you can join me for that one. But if you want to contact me, I've got 2 emails. A medium77@gmail.com or the Britt 77, that's THEBRITT77 @hotmail.com. A medium one's to do with my medium work, and the other one's just general emails. But if you want to talk anything, send me an email. Or you can phone me on Florida, USA 352-409-1060. Leave a voice message and I will get back to you. If you don't leave a voice message, I'm sorry. I'm not just going to take a stab at it. Say who you are, what your question is, or how I can help, and I'll be more than happy to assist you as best I can, or get people to help you. I want you to know that my show on New Streaming Network means a lot to me. And it's by the grace of God, Cece moved on from her past to create New Streaming Network. I am Reverend Graham Williamson. I'm 3rd generation international intuitive evidential medium psychic. I'm the host of Dare to Dream for a reason. You and spirit. You can move on if you so choose, or you can choose to sit there and wallow. I chose when a doctor in the Royal Navy said my liver is bad. You're an alcoholic. I could have ignored it. I didn't. I moved on. I've not touched a drop for 24 years. I want you to move on from whatever's holding you back. And I hope you'll join me in 2 weeks' time. And I want to wish each and every one of you, again, Happy New Year, and thank you for being with me. I'm your host, Reverend Graham Williamson, on Dare to Dream. Have a wonderful evening.